Greetings, my friends. It is I, Sugi Khan, who will be representing my top 10 MOBA games of all time. And this, as a disclaimer, these are of course based on my own experiences with the games, the developers, and the community. On number 10 we have Heroes of the Storm, a game that initially had a lot of potential, but ever since Blizzard announced that they would be using team experience system, I think a lot of people's heads were turned around because this wasn't really like a great gameplay design choice for the core MOBA audience. A lot of people don't understand that majority of the people who play MOBAs are lone wolf players, players who like the solo carry games such as I, who necessarily don't play that much into team but sometimes play into team. And the significance of a one player in Heroes of the Storm is insignificant. There is just no way to really solo carry games. You can't do that in this game. It is more about teamwork. Nothing really wrong with that. However, they eliminated a lot of elements like last hitting and this type of things from the game, which made the game really lack a lot of depth. However, the game does have pretty cool graphics. I like a lot of the skins. I also like the whole concept of combining over four more IPs from the Blizzard universe into a one. And then you have, of course, a lot of maps, but some of them are really bad, some of them are really good. And then again, you have a bit of inconsistency on the balance of the game, essentially, because it's revolving around, everything is really revolving around team comps. Also, one of my points of criticisms always was for this game that all of the skins and the heroes were super damn expensive compared to any other MOBA out there. On number 9 we have Dota 2, a game that is very financially successful and has second largest player base in the MOBA market. However, I always been very critical about a lot of the gameplay design choices that the Dota 2 has implemented, such as a lot of RNG on it. Also, the turn rates and denying are not really the most fun elements. They are there to add difficulty, but there are much more smarter ways to add difficulty and depth to the game instead of adding these systems that really make the game feel very unsmooth. But there are a lot of good things about the Dota 2 too. And one of the things that I really enjoy and why it's still on the list is because of the custom game scene. While the custom game lobbies and systems are not perfect, there are a lot of really cool custom games brought out from Warcraft 3 into the Dota 2 engine, Element TD for example, and a lot of the Foodie Wars and other maps, mazes, etc. that have been really fun to play. And I didn't think in the future it will still get improved and the game still gets better. But overall, I think it's an okay game, although I don't really play the normal mode. I just only play it for the customs these days. On number 8 we have Strife, a game that is pretty much dead right now, but when it wasn't dead, it was actually a decent game. It always had great graphics, it had good interface on the game, and one of the things I always kept praising about it was the fact that how well optimized the client and the game were. It could run really well on low-end PCs and it didn't absorb a lot of power in higher-end PCs. I also did enjoy a lot of the things that S2 Games tried to innovate with the game, such as the pet system, the crafting system, and the single-player mode that they implemented too. And a lot of those things got revamped a lot, of course, and ultimately S2 Games maybe made too many bad decisions. But when it was good, it was pretty good ride. On number 7 we have Smite, a game that is third biggest MOBA right now, having over 20 million players throughout 3 different platforms of PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And I have to say that this game has come a long way since its inception. The game has improved so much graphically, the models have undergone changes, the maps have gone under changes, the UI has been improved and changed many times, the client, the launcher, everything has changed. Hi-Rez has come such a long way since of its beginning to what it is today, and I'm very proud of them. And also I had a very great experience as being a member of press, always had a good connection with Hi-Rez. They always been very cooperative, something that I can't say about every MOBA company out there. Always really community orientated game. It has the best community out of all MOBA communities that I ever played in. Less ragers, less framers. It has been just a great experience. while I don't like the gameplay of that much because it's a bit too slow paced for me, that's why I didn't rank it higher on this ranking list. But I still think it's one of the best games in the MOBA, especially in the 3D space. I just see a lot of appeal to the game, and I'm very proud of Hi-Res about all their achievements that they have done and how much really overhauling and improvement they have done to the game and its concept. And I also have to say this game has pretty good skins also compared to a lot of the other games. On number 6 we have Paragon, and the only reason I really ranked it above Smite is because the game's combat is a lot more faster, and it has this thing that really appeals to me in this game is that the battlefield is very three-dimensional. You have the high ground, you have the low ground, and that plays a really huge part into the combat, and I think you can juke around really cool way, and you have a lot of really cool zoning abilities in this game that have like a huge part to play. Also, the graphical style is much more realistic, and it's sometimes really cool to have that type of a graphical style, since a lot of the other MOBAs are usually very cartoony, and that may appeal to a lot of players. While the PC reviews for the game hasn't been that great, but a lot of the PS4 players for Paragon have been extremely enjoying the game. And I think Paragon has a long way to go. They have been releasing characters quite fast and quite frequently, so there's new content coming to the game all the time, which is really nice. And I just really like a lot of the Paragon's element and choices. Even though they don't innovate that much, I still think it's a rather decent MOBA addition to today's world. On number 5 we have Matika's Gigantic, and this is a game that has to be the most beautiful MOBA ever made from an artistic standpoint. It has this Miyazaki / anime / western cartoon style. The character designs are really nice and cool, and they all fit into this world. In some other games, you know, some of the characters don't fit really in my opinion. And I really like about this game because it's very fast-paced. It innovates a lot. It's not really like a full MOBA. It's kind of like a MOBA hybrid. It has this like pet system and creature system that makes it kind of interesting. And also what I really like about the combat itself, as in same as in Paragon, you have a huge play. The whole battlefield is a 3D platform, and so you can jump from this location. A lot of the characters have gap closures, and there's zoning, and there's just the movement of the combat is just beautiful, and it's so much depth into this game that I really enjoy it. Long as Matika really fixes their problems as a company and gets the game off the rails, I think it can be very successful in the future. I'm looking very forward to that. The number 4 is Crytek's Arena of Faith, and this is a game that has a lot of appeal to me because of its game time system. So each time you play, its max gonna last at 20 minutes. You're given the guarantee of the game time, and that is something you can play on a lunch break or something. And it also gives you more like an interesting and more intense gameplay. There won't be like this long boring ass farming times. I also like that it's a very cultural and international game because it's putting influences from different historical stories and historical characters throughout the world, and that is very nice. Also, the one thing that I also enjoy about this game that I also is the same as Strife, the game is very well optimized. The client, the game itself runs really well, and the game needs more polishing. You have to understand it's still in alpha, but as an alpha product, it's a pretty fucking strong title. And I'm looking forward to see where it will move inside the future. But I think it has innovated a lot of the MOBA scene and has done a lot of things right as well. On the 3rd place we have EA's Dawngate, a game that no longer exists, but it was rather remarkable and innovative game in many ways. For example, they put a very deep focus on lore of the game. They were releasing a lot of lore text. They were releasing a weekly comic book where they would show the lore of the game. Then they had lore-based skins on the game, which were canon, of course. And then they had a lot of innovation on the game itself. For example, every character started with a word that would never really expire. I mean, you could reuse it the similar ways in League of Legends. League of Legends copied that idea, and you could say stealing is the biggest form of admiration, really. And a lot of other MOBAs have since taken that wide idea and wide concept from them, and it's a really good concept, really. The game was very innovative in many ways. You had the spirit world system, you had the double jungle system, and you of course had very complex stat system as well. There was a lot of complexity and depth into it through the runes and the pieces that you could assemble throughout outside the game. And you know, it was very, very good game in many aspects. It looked nice. It had this Western meets Asian style. It had a good blend of that. Many things. I don't have any really negative things to say except the fact that EA pulled the plug on the game when they shouldn't have. And the game had really promising future, but you know, this sometimes happens, and it's sad that that game had to go. But to this day, it's really one of the best games, and maybe it could be the #1 on this list if it never really got cut down. On the second spot, we have League of Legends, and this game could have been #1 on the list if it was a year or 2 years ago, but with the recent changes and stupid decisions done by Riot Games, it's hard to give them the #1 spot, especially when they're neglecting their player base. And this game, still today, it is still fun to play. You know, there are a lot of appealing aspects to it. The music has always been great in League of Legends, and the gameplay aspect has gone smoother and smoother throughout the years. A lot of the characters are really fun to play, even though the meta has ruined them a lot, and a lot of the balancing always changes things too much then and then. There's a lot of appeal to this game because there's a lot of different game modes. You have the ARAMs, you have the rotating game modes, and then you have the Twisted Tree Line and versus 5. So you have different maps. There's diversity, good graphics. The game is mostly optimized. It sometimes fluctuates between the patches. Sometimes they manage to break it. So they haven't been that consistent about it. But overall, League of Legends is a good game, but it's not good as it was. And Riot just is doing a lot of bad decisions. I just feel like the game is never going to be good as it was. I think it's going downhill all the time. And it is time for new age of MOBAs, really. And that is why League of Legends is currently second. And the first place goes to Master X Master. And the reason is because it has a lot to offer to you. Not only it has WASD control, which is superior to the mouse and click type of a thing, but it has a lot of innovative things. Not only it's kind of like, well, almost pretty much the first MOBA to have PvE modes. It has a lot of PvE missions, kind of work as a dungeons and raids, which you can do with your friends. You can have different types of rankings. You have mini games on the game. It's like feeling like Dota 2 customs again. And then you have arena mode, and then you have the real competitive mode, which is 5v5. This game just has so many modes and so many game modes to offer that, and the things to really unlock too. The graphics are just amazing. There's good lore in the game, in the single player missions. There's actually a real plot behind this. There's a good tutorial for the game. The graphics, as I said, they're really appealing because they're more anime style, and that really appeals to me a lot. A lot of the character designs are really nice. The ability to swap between two characters in the game also makes it nice. It brings a lot of tactical diversity to the game, and it offers you to have two different play styles, and it also offers you to really counter up in the laning phase, and you know, just to, you know, you can, it just brings so much different strategy up to it. And the voice acting is also good in this game, and the developers are, you know, they're not maybe the Ansoft may have not the best reputation, but they're at least stable company, and it's pretty good that a MOBA game is run by a stable company, because we have seen a lot of games come and go. But overall, I think Master X Master has a very, very bright future ahead of it, and might become really, really big pretty soon. And I think a lot of people will switch from League of Legends and other MOBAs to this game once they hear out and see how amazing it is. But just kidding, guys. The real #1 is, of course, Adventure Time Battle Party. This is the best game, right? This has to be the best MOBA of all time. There is nothing quite like this. There's nothing really that offers such a complexity in the gameplay, such a great roster of characters, and you can even play it on a fucking browser, guys. Well, that's the only way you can play it. Anyhow, thanks for watching this video, and I will see you guys next time. Adios.